Drinking at NWO's, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's also mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin' at Moe's, where we don't quit. Drinking at Moe's, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, no, it's a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drinkinatmos, just because it says drinking at Moe's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Moe's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee, and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. What the fuck was that?
I got nothing.
Like, goddamn, reminds me of friggin'
Apparently, it's a dog call because like one of my pups just popped in here.
No, I was thinking of Jeff Dunham when he would be like, it was, I want to say it was either Peanut or Jose Jalapeno, where he'd be like, I am Jose Jalapeno. Yeah, remind me never to sing again. Anyways, we're back with another episode of Drain the Mo's. My 2 cents, Big Mo here. Nate here. And yeah, YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment if you will, because yeah, that algorithm is a pain in the ass.
We take time off and it's still a pain in the ass.
Yeah, take time off. Well, time off for my 2 cents. The interviews have been going.
Well.
Yeah, but audio platforms, don't forget about those. So today, we are going to be talking about what went wrong with the NWO, and I'm talking about WWE's version of the NWO. Now, okay, so there's a few things that kind of went wrong here. Now, when, the old regime, well, that's the way we'll refer to them as, brought in the NWO back at that time, the whole thing was injecting a cancer into his creation, bringing them in as the nasty heels, the bad guys.
Big old nasty heels that kill his company.
And I don't think that they had planned in that year's WrestleMania, when they had Hogan and Rock, that Hogan was going to get cheered, probably for the last fucking time.
Well, nobody knew what was going on behind the
scenes. They
scenes.
didn't plan for him to have that sort of a babyface reaction, which kind of, you would think, would turn to, oh shit, what do we do here? And then, you had turning on Hall and Nash, which, would come for, when, one person starts getting the babyface reaction. And then, stuff happened with Hall and Nash. Nash had one of his many quad injuries.
Many quad tears.
Many. And then I think it was Hall left or got released or something, got injured. He's out. So then it's almost like, what the fuck do you do? But then, Nash is still kind of there, even with the the injury, still keeping him on camera. So you're bringing in people like Booker T, Big Show, X-Pac, Shawn Michaels, which 2 out of those 4 were kind of like, Booker T being one of those because, back in the days of WCW, he was one of the people always fighting the NWO. So it's almost like, why the fuck is he joining them here? But the only thing that makes him a little more, I'd want to say, damn, brain fart right now. But it makes him not seem as out of place.
Riddle, yeah.
Is, obviously brother Stevie Ray, NWO back in the WCW days. So, there is that little bit of a tie to a former NWO member. The one that really just would catch you off guard, even now when you hear about it, Shawn Michaels. Like, that came completely out of left field.
It did. However, when you look at the fact that Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels are, best of friends, and
that
when there was a WrestleMania, I can't remember the name of it, which one it was. The main event was like Bret Hart versus Sid for the championship, and Shawn Michaels was nursing an injury, and he came walking down to the ring, and with the camera pulls his coat out and does one of those at the same time that Nash and Hall are in WCW, and they're throwing up the 2 sweets and all that with the NWO. So it's like, it doesn't make sense, but in the same way, it kind of does make sense because they do have that friendship.
There is that friendship that it's been noted throughout wrestling history that, Kevin Nash and HBK, the Click. But actually, I just read further down in my notes here, Scott Hall was actually released in May of 2002. Very shortly after, within a couple months of that WrestleMania. So that would kind of throw that for a loop because you got one of the founding members of the group gone. And Nash's injury didn't happen until July 8th of that year. So he had a little bit where, he was actually healthy with the rest of the group. But still, you have one of the founding members that ended up randomly turning babyface. Then you have one of the others gone, released. God rest his soul. But then within a couple months within a handful of months of that biggest show of the year, because WrestleMania always the biggest show of the year. But
so big they've got it on 2 days now.
Yeah, they got it on 2 days now. But
it costs an arm and a leg to go to it.
Yeah, although conveniently enough, side note from that, I've been hearing that those astronomical prices that we were seeing and we've actually talked about were mostly for the 2-day combo prices. I've been hearing that the 1-day tickets, they're still pretty damn expensive, but not as bad.
So I got an email yesterday from WWE, basically for bundle packages for WrestleMania weekend.
Oh God!
SmackDown, the NXT show on Saturday.
We're going off on a tangent here.
Access
we do that, but I'm gonna be getting it
and all that stuff. I looked it up. If you want that bundle, it's going to cost you about $1,100 to get on the floor. Not even front row, floor.
oh God, if I'm not within the first 3 rows on the main floor, fuck it,
Yeah.
I'm going lower bowl after that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Anyway, go ahead.
going back to everything, could they have done what WCW did and filled the ranks with whoever the fuck else in the damn roster? That, I mean, there has been talk, you know, who on WWE roster would make a good NWO. They had people back then that probably could have fit the bill,
Mm-hmm.
but it still goes back to the factor of, you know, 2 of the founding members are gone for all intents and purposes. Scott Hall released, Kevin Nash injured, Hogan's babyface, and back to the red and yellow. Who could they have done it? Because
So
you already got
and Hogan was also on SmackDown too.
that too. But
actually, I think around that time he was a champion.
He might have been. I don't remember. Somebody can correct me on that. I don't remember. But it all is just going back to, they had people that they did fill in, some with ties to the WCW brand. Big Show and X-Pac actually having been in that version.
Yep.
But
it was diluted.
It was diluted well, I wouldn't really say diluted, because diluted to me means like it was kind of back in the WCW days where it's like the original idea was pretty cool. You have people that could have passed for getting sent from the other company. Right. Then you just start throwing in all these other people and kind of diluted the whole thing. But it was almost, going back to what is Sesame Street or whatever, where it's like one of these things is not like the other. Yeah. That's what they had here with, HBK and Booker T. Because here's the thing, it's funny for me thinking back on it, because back when, Monday Night Wars, DX, NWO, HBK is in the opposite fucking group.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy crap. What the hell? Like, you're putting the captain of the opposing group into your version of NWO.
It's kind of like WWECW.
Oh God, we already talked about that.
Yeah, a lot of people still call it that too.
Yeah, that's why I just like to forget that time frame of that ever happened.
Right. So, as far as the NWO and the WWE, I remember Kevin Nash actually talked about this on his podcast, and apparently it was just supposed to be Hogan, and then according to Nash, it was just supposed to be Hogan. Vince reached out to Hogan. I'm sorry, the old regime reached out to Hogan, and because Hogan is still at the time still in good communication with Nash, Nash said, Hogan reached out to me, hey, we can do something here. And apparently, because it's Nash, Scott Hall became part of the package deal. Hall was still going through all of his issues.
Which, I mean, it's not like we're saying anything that wasn't already out there with that.
So
it's been well documented. And, I will say with those that, hey, he did battle back for them. He did end up, for a lot of purposes, making better from a lot of that.
Oh, yeah.
So, not to, talk ill of the dead.
Oh, God, no, never. But, so yeah, and my understanding was the way everything kind of splintered off on its own was not part of the plan. apparently they were supposed to have a Hogan versus Stone Cold match. Stone Cold didn't want it. They pivoted to The Rock. We all saw what happened. They were going to put, I think they were originally going to do Nash and Austin, but I think Nash was, go figure, nursing an injury. So they threw Hall in there. Well, Hall kind of half-assed it. Austin's pissed off because there was absolutely no build to this, and he felt the hit shit. Austin felt, and I'm sure you'd be right there. It's WrestleMania. You should have some kind of build to a match like this, and there was jack and squat.
Jack and Spot.
And then Hall. I guess Hall, no showed a couple events. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to let you go. Hogan, baby, turning, getting the baby face turn, wins the title. I think he lost the title by the time
Lesnar.
And then Lesnar beat the whole piss out of him. But yeah, their booking just absolutely sucked balls. It did. Their whole handling of the whole thing. If they would have done it, if they wouldn't have had them target, if they would have done things like they did in WCW with the build that they kind of had, yes, you're not really going to be able to build it up for the NWO. Bring the NWO just like that, but don't have them target a single person. You run over an ambulance that's got Austin in it. You're targeting one person. Okay, now we're gonna go out. No, you build your ranks and then you start doing that shit. That's why NWO lasted for what, 2 years, damn near.
Yeah.
This one lasted what, a couple months.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst version of the NWO lasted longer than the WWE's version. That was the last version of WCW.
I'm just trying to think. Because the NWO 2000 didn't last all that fucking long.
No, are you talking about the one with Bret Hart and Jeff Jarrett?
Bret Hart, Jeff Jarrett, I think Nash was in there.
And Scott Hall.
Nash and Scott Hall, yeah. Where I think like Bret won the WCW title and ended up getting injured. Yeah. I remember that. But yeah.
It had a fast forward button.
It had a lot of promise.
It did.
WWE's version of the NWO. Because they had all the elements that they needed to get it started. But like what happened a lot back then.
Bad booking. They just start rushing shit, or they get an idea and then it's like, oh shit, we don't have much time until this. So yeah, it's almost like, I mean, because they brought him back at the No Way Out pay-per-view, and I think back then the No Way Out pay-per-view was the one right before WrestleMania.
I'm wanting to say so, yeah.
So, and that was
and
they're still doing it now, but it's like pay-per-view. It was like, big pay-per-view, and then every month before or in between, you got 4 months of little pay-per-views and the big pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So they were running pay-per-views every month, so you bring them out a month before WrestleMania.
Yeah. That, I almost, thinking back on it, if there was a way that maybe it could have been improved, is either I would have, in my 2 cents, probably would have done it having those guys debut the Raw after Mania. That way, it's your weekly show, still a pretty big deal, and everybody's still excited about, oh man, we just got past WrestleMania. What's going to happen now? Boom, you bring those guys out.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, hindsight 2020 and all that bullshit. But whatever. Well, that is about all I got. Unless you got something.
That one was almost as bad as the invasion storyline.
Oh God, we already talked about that.
I'm saying it's as bad.
Yeah, it was one of those things that, again, like I had already said, it had a lot of promise, but stuff happened and it fizzled out and didn't really deliver.
No.
But again, that is about all I have.
That's all I got.
Hope y'all have a good week. And you know what? Don't forget, I'm trying to find my damn notes here. All right. If you can't tell the difference between warm apple juice and pee, you're not allowed in my damn house. Let's fucking go.
God.
Fucking goddamn